Okay, we can start now.
Okay, should we start, Akshay?
Yes, we can start.
Okay, very good evening to one and all present over here. As it was decided and already intimated to everyone in the WhatsApp groups and in the campus, GDSC, GNDEC Leader has come up with a campaign that is Web for Firebase campaign, basically web development web campaign, and also machine learning and Kaggle campaign. Machine learning and Kaggle campaign sessions will be conducted later in this week. Uh, so now we are going to kick off with the web campaign for Firebase. So basically, you guys will be taken from the very scratch to full stack web development. When I say full stack, the backend comes hand in hand with the web technology. So basically, backend has different technologies like SQL, NoSQL, other database. Here, the Firebase concept is introduced by Google. It is a Google technology basically. So this handles backend very well. So now we are going to start our session from the very scratch. That is from HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and also uh, in the middle we will also take you with other frameworks such as Angular. Not in this session. This is an introductory session. Weekly we will be conducting sessions. So you guys, I suggest you guys keep joining our sessions and stay in touch with the facilitators and the community members of our GDSC. Also, we have decided to go with community facilitators this time. So we have given chance to different students from different departments. So we all will be focusing more on the basic part in this introductory event. And now I request Payal Mudale from 5th SEM ISC department to take it from here. Payal.
Thank you so much, Prabhakar. Hello, everyone. It's me, Payal from ISC Department 3rd year. Hope I'm audible. So now, moving forward, let us know more about web development. Slide. So the agendas are introduction of web development, basics of HTML tags and its users, writing of first HTML program for user registration form. So now let us know more about web development and its terms and how HTML, CSS and JavaScript works. So basically web development is the work involved in developing the website for the internet, and web development is the building and maintenance of websites. It is the work that happens behind the scenes to make website look great, work fast and perform well with a seamless user experience. So well, web development. Web developers do this by using a variety of coding languages. So next slide, please. So those are in three main categories: front end, back end, and full stack. So we will know about front end part now. Next slide. So while there are mainly different programming language, the most common ones used in web development are HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So let us know about HTML. So HTML is used to make structure of web pages, and CSS are used to style the web pages, and JavaScript is used to add the logic to the web pages. And HTML was established by Tim Berners in 1991. From 1995 to 1997, he worked on versions of HTML, and now presently we are using fifth version of HTML. Okay. And HTML and CSS are two languages that works together to create everything we see on the browser, and it is a raw data that is that a developed web page is built out of 10 links, lists, and buttons. CSS is what adds styles to those plain elements. HTML is used to find information on web pages, and CSS is used for position that information, gives it colors, change, and fonts make it look great. So, next slide, please. Before seeing the example, we will go through the web development has three languages. Please, back slide. So, another one. So we will see in the front end we are seeing the HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and in backend we will see then Python and JavaScript plus MongoDB. In front end part, HTML, we will know about HTML, Java. Next slide. In HTML, when we open a website, we see the basic structure. So, which is created for that we use the HTML. So, in CSS, to make them more interesting, design outlook which button should have which color, where the button should be placed. So, to do all this, we use CSS and JavaScript. To define the logic, if to define the logic, we use JavaScript. For example, if we press this link, if we press this link, this we will move to another website. So this is the work of JavaScript. Um, so for considering a web development, we will see the basic example. Next slide. So, building a house. HTML performs like a structure and planning and outlook of the house. So, before we making a house, we will make a planning of how where should be the doors and everything. So that is how the structure outer look it should be there. That is the HTML works like this. So CSS performs like which wall should be which color, which button should be placed in which side of the hall and everything. To do all this, we use CSS. And JavaScript performs like if we switch on the buttons, fans, and lights, we will we will it will on. Which button if you are oning this? If we choose this button, we should on lights, and which we press the button, lights and fans. To make this logic and connectivity, we use JavaScript. Okay. So we have seen the example. So I will next. This is the basic of web development of front end part, and we have seen the back end and full stack development. Yes, full stack development is if we are using both of them, front end and back end, it is known as full stack development. So if we are using front end and back end both program, so that is known as full stack development. So thank you. I will next hand over to the Sneha to know you more about the tags of web development.
Thank you, Payal. It was great. Akshay, if you can just take out this share screen, I want to share this.
Sure.
Thank you. So, hello everyone. It's Neha from EC Department 4th year. I'll be explaining more about HTML and its tag. So, let me share my screen. Hope my screen is visible, right? So before going ahead, so Payal explained how house is built, and then there is first there are bricks which are known as HTML. Like the basic structure of a website is done by HTML. Then the beautifying part is done by CSS, and the security part or the working part is done by JavaScript. So there is another example. So this is a body part. Like I wanted to share this image because it relates us to more, right? It's our own body part. So our bones are literally the functioning bones, like movement of our bones are literally how the website works. Like if there is any movement in the website, if there is any changes in websites, it's done by HTML. So same how we move our hand, if there is any movement on the website, if there is any image fluctuating or image change, it's done by HTML. Then the JavaScript is more about the functioning part, and then CSS is more beautifying part. As you can see the difference between the HTML and CSS. Like who would like who would like a website with just like bones, right? Basically, a bad website. But if the if there is beautified, that's where CSS comes in picture. So we'll not focus on beautifying part. Let's focus on more the building part. Before before going ahead, I want to ask you one question: that is HTML a programming language? Anyone can give me no. Ayush told no. Like we have 27. Like at least 4 5 folks can. Okay, Ishpreet is telling no.
No, no, it's not a programming language.
Okay, okay. Ayush is telling it's a markup language. Okay, cool. Yep. So going ahead, as Ayush told, it's a markup language. If someone asks you, if Sneha, if I ask you, like how many programming languages do you know? Can you answer it? Like anyone can answer, right? How many programming languages do you know, like, with the name? So if I ask myself like how many languages do I know, I would tell it's Python, C, and Java. But I would never mention I know HTML in a programming language, because it's not a programming language. It's a markup language for web development. So make sure you never make this mistake that someone asks you, "Do you know programming language?" And then name it. Then make sure it's you tell just the object-oriented languages, not the markup languages such as HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Right. So going ahead, let me give you another insight recently which happened yesterday. So as I mentioned, programming language and markup language. So what is the basic difference between a programming language and a markup language? Can anyone give it? Like anyone? As Ayush told, it's a markup language. Can you give the difference between markup language and programming language? Anyone? You can unmute or you can just put it. It's okay. Like I am not a teacher or any lecturer. I am just your senior. So make sure you are free and give the answer.
Sneha, programming languages have a functional one, something functional you do. But in markup language, you don't have any functional things to do.
Yeah.
That's the basic difference, I guess.
Yeah. That's the perfect answer I would have ever got from our audience, right? So yeah, as Mansi told, so if there is any, I like break down to you in a more simpler way. So in the Python or in any programming language, the first few starting things you would have done was adding numbers or multiplying numbers, right? But it can be done in HTML and CSS, but not in a functional way. So that's what the more functionalities are in programming languages, but not in a markup language. It's more of the front end side. So all the front end, as Payal told, in the front end, these are HTML, CSS, and JavaScript comes but in the back end, they are MongoDB or basically any servers are connecting Python, Anaconda, anything. But give but I want to share you this, right? So yesterday itself, the Peter Wang, who is co-founder and CEO of Anaconda, just announced a new programming language. I am not sure should I call it programming language or markup language. He launched PyScript. So what is PyScript? Let me give you, like, since I am also not sure, I just share with you by sharing, right? It's let Google answer us what PyScript is. So as you can see, it's 21 hours ago. Because it like yes, so it started like they started in 2021 building it, and they just released it yesterday. So it's an open source integrated development environment for Windows. So basically, you can connect Python and also the HTML tags together. Interesting, right? So am I making sense to tell you, I want to make a notion here that HTML, Python, and the other languages are as important as we learn C or C++. Let's not let's not be oriented just to those languages which are used for data structures and algorithms, but also to those languages which are actually built, like which are actually can be seen, right? Um, okay. Now here is the interesting part. So can I change this website anywhere? Like, can I change this? It's a Google Chrome default link. So can I change it? Yes or no would work for me.
Yes, yes.
Yes. Okay. Okay. Those who told yes, can you give me like how can I do it? Like a simple guess. Like how would I go ahead to change it? Ayush, Akshay, I know you're active, but can Ayush tell, because he's in the text? Can you just unmute and tell? Yeah, it is there for developer mode. Okay, yeah. So I think he came to the direct point. It's not for developers. Anyone who has the basic laptop can actually view the whole source code of every website. So there are two options to actually see the code of any website. There is view page source and there is inspect. So when I click on view page source, so if we are reading a textbook, right? If I say I'm reading the whole textbook of our English novel, something, Three Men in a Boat, right? So there is a summary of each textbook which I see, right? Three Men in a boat. Okay. So the textbook would be a 400-page book, maybe more, but there are only few lines as a summary. As you can see, these are the lines which I call it a summary. The view page source does the same thing. It shows you the summary of whole website. But then there comes the inspect element. So if you see, the whole code can be seen here. Like this is HTML. Then these part are CSS. Like if you can see the height. Then there is RGB. Can you give me what RGB is? Like anyone? Like I know it's going more diverted, but can anyone tell what RGB is? Because it's the main thing for CSS. If you do anything around CSS, you would be considering RGB. So what is RGB is my question. No one.
Primary
I think.
color, primary colors.
Primary colors. Yes, that's yep. It's red, green, blue. So
Red, green, blue.
yeah. So let me like give you more of sense. Can you see this? Uh, can my is my extension
Yes, yes, it
like
is
I don't.
visible.
Okay, done. So every color, any color you see has the mixture of RGB. So RGB are the basic colors, and every color has a code. So I know everyone would have known that okay, computer doesn't understand our language, so we need to have values given to it. It can be 0, 1, 1, or the numbers or the binary things, blah blah blah. For the same thing, we colors also have their codes, and that code is given by RGB. And then there is also the highlight button, everything. So the whole CSS has this thing of coloring elements, background, and everything. And the CSS is done by it, and that's where RGB comes in. So not going more into it. Make sure you know how RGB works and how these codes are written. It's very simple if you just like search. So now Rakshita will be telling more about the HTML tags, but giving you more sense. So every HTML code starts with HTML header, body, and then closing part. So there are two types of tags. One is closed tags. Another type is unclosed tags. Uh, as I said, Rakshita will be going more into it in the next step. I want to give more into how I can literally change any website. Like if you are just exploring, so how you can change. So do you know what Control F does? Anyone? Like if I do any, okay, let me only tell. Like on any website or anything, just put Control plus F. Then you will be getting the search string, right? So I'll be searching search Google because I want to change this, right, like search Google or type URL. I want to change it. So what should I change? Let me change. Sneha is in 8th sem. Looks cool. Now I can actually change many things, like new tab. So I'll ask you a question. Make sure you observe what I am doing actually. Can I give it GDSC TNDs? So anyone can tell what I did, like literally what I did. Can anyone just put a summary? I know what I did, but can anyone tell what I actually did?
We had given the title.
Sorry? Yeah?
We had given the title that is PNBC.
Okay. Okay. Uh, any other like what I have did? Like answer can be different or same, but make sure you answer it. Okay, anyone want to answer? Like I can wait for 2 minutes if you're still thinking what to answer. Okay. So tab title is changed. Okay. Yeah, I know tab title is changed, but what am I changing? That's the question. Like just a simple word. Temporary changes in code. Okay. But is there a change in color? What am I changing? Am I changing color? Am I changing the background? Am I changing the logo? Text. Yeah. Great. Ayush came, I think you made a point. What I was tending to explain was in both the codes I changed, I simply changed the text. And I didn't change any tags or anything. So make sure HTML tags and the text. That's the whole difference what HTML tags does. So that's what I wanted to explain what HTML tags actually are. So tags are nothing but differentiating the code from the simple text. So if you see the title, there is a opening tag and there is a closing tag. But in the middle, everything is text. But there can be other parts like where will be like in this case ID. There is view box like putting a box. Then there would be selecting options or something and something. But what I was explaining was to differentiate the simple text and the tags. That's what whole HTML is. That's why we use tags to differentiate between what we have to show on the website and what we don't have. Let me know if there are any questions. Then we can go ahead to Rakshita to share more about tags. Folks, is there any doubt? Any question for me? Asad? Clear. Yeah. Because if you don't understand what I told now, you will be like facing some difficulty to understand the next part, what Rakshita and what Ishpreet will be explaining. Over to you, Rakshita. Let's go ahead and see what tags do and how those works. Yeah.
Good evening, everyone. Am I audible?
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Huh.
Yes,
Go ahead.
Rakshita, you are.
I am Rakshita, core team member of GDAC. With no further delay, let us know more about the basics of web development. Firstly, HTML. HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. Hypertext means machine readable text, and markup means structured in a specific format. And CSS stands for cascading styling sheet. And JavaScript is used to add functions to the website. Coming to HTML, it is a very good language to start off with, but you need to learn other languages like CSS and JavaScript to make your web page more beautiful. HTML can be written in many IDEs like WordPad, Notepad, Notepad Plus, or Microsoft, or anything. Today, I am going to use Visual Studio Code. It is one of the best entries I have ever seen, and it has got a lot of features in it. So, give me a second, let me share my screen. Is my screen visible?
Yes, Rakshita.
Yes, it is.
First thing you need to do this here is right click on your desktop, create a new folder. I will name it as HTML session 1. Now go to Visual Studio Codes. Click on the file, new file, and here down right side click on the plain text. Choose HTML here and save it. I will save it as index.html. You don't actually need this index part. You can write anything here, but you need to mention .html as it as your browser will understand it is an HTML file. Now save it. Your writing part should appear here, index.html. Now let's start the HTML coding. So firstly,
हेलो अरे फर्स्ट डेस्कटॉप में फोल्डर क्रिएट चेक
am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Okay, now let's start with the HTML coding. Firstly, HTML is based on tags. The tags actually mean that the hidden keywords in a web page. They define how the browser should display and format the content. Now there are two types of tags. There are opening tags and closing tags. Now this may seem a bit confusing, but as we go along, we understand this. So let's write this code. So first we need to do this. You have to tell the browser that it is an HTML5 document. So we type a left angle bracket. Here you can see the suggestion list. Press enter or tab. VS Code generated a piece of code here. So with this line of code, we can tell browser that it is an HTML5 document. This line of code here is called document declaration. In the previous version of HTML, our document declaration was so long and so messy, but HTML5 solved this problem. So all we need to have to type doctype.html. By this way, HTML is not a case sensitive language, which means it was case sensitive to uppercase or lowercase letters. But conventionally, we write everything in lowercase except doc type. This is just a convention. We can write this doc type in lowercase also. It's perfectly fine. Right after this, we need to use our next HTML elements to define the structure of the web page. We should type HTML, enter, press enter or tab. Here you can see once again VS Code has generated a piece of code for us. So what we have on the left side is opening tag, and what we have on the right side is closing tag. Uh, Closing tag. So most HTML elements doesn't have closing tag, but there are some exceptions, as I'm going to show you later in the session. Inside this element, we are going to add some additional elements. Now, now because I don't want to type everything in one line, I'm going to press enter. And I'm adding two elements here. The head element and the body element. We use the head element to give the browser the information about this page. For example, here we can use the title element in the head element, and I can name it as my first web page and save it. Right click on the screen, open with live server. Okay, we will do it later. My first page, and in the body tag, we will add some more elements. We can use image tag here. Here we have two attributes, source and alt. Alt is nothing but alternate text. Alternate text is not required here. In the source, we have to place the image which we are going to add.
Guys, I think there is some internet issue with Rakshita. So she messaged me. So Ispit, you can continue. She will be joining after this connection. Okay.
Hi everyone, my name is Ishpreet and I'm from 5th semester, the core team member of GDSC and this time the facilitator of web campaign. Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible.
Yeah, you are. Okay. So the tags and everything has already been discussed by Rakshita and Sneha. So now we'll make a registration form by using those tags. So I'll share my screen and let's get into it. Is my screen visible?
Yep.
Okay. So we'll be making a registration form. We'll be using the HTML and we'll code using Notepad. So yeah. Now let's start. Doc type. It tells the type of the document. Now the opening tag HTML, the head. So as we are making a registration form, so the head will be registration form and the closing tag. Now coming on to the body. So it's three. Here it stands for basically heading and will the form and the closing tag. Now let's see one example. Wait. here I'll let you know about the difference of H3 and why we are using H3, why not H1, and the things related to it. H1.html, we are saving this file, and the type will be on save as type or save. Now we'll go to the file and session 1. As you can see, fill the form. Now what if we do it like H1 and save? We'll save this file again. See, the font size increased. Now we'll copy paste this around 6 times to save our time. For you'll see the difference after saving this file. Now see, fill the form. We have seen that H stands for heading. H1, it means fill the form. Can you see the font size? Now H2, H3, 4, 5, 6. The more we moved forward, the lesser the font size became. So as we are making the registration form, this was only to let you know about what is basically H and what is H1, why are we using H3. So closing this body. And we had opened this HTML but haven't closed it yet. So closing this HTML. Now we'll save this and we'll see. See guys, I have just reloaded the page and you can see session 1 .html, the registration form. Here you can see this is the head, the registration form, right? Now fill the form, which is over here, H3. Now coming on to first name, last name, password, phone number, gender. What if we remove this BR from here? Now let's see what happened. Now we'll save this and again we'll reload. See, the last name came one step above, which is with the first name. So BR is basically to break. So wherever we have used this BR, everything is coming into the next line. What if we remove, what if we put BR over here? Let's see it. And remove phone. See, submit. This came the next line. Now we have already see that whenever in a form it is always written that in this portion where I'm writing this written like please enter your first name, please enter your last. What if we want to do like that? Am I audible, guys? And the screen is visible.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. So what if we want to have some text over here like enter first name, enter last name. So this happens mentioning this placeholder thing. Enter the first name. Right? Now we'll be copy. Enter the last name. Now let's see what happens. We'll save it. And we'll reload. See guys, enter the first name, enter the last name. Now what if we want the same thing and password, phone number and gender? We'll again paste it. And you'll see the result. Enter the password. Now enter your number. Let's save it. Reload the page. See guys, as you can see, enter the first name, the last name, password, everyone. What if we select mail and we select email. So at one time you can only select one thing. So this is the function of radio. If we are selecting male, then the female will be unselected. We are selecting other, male will be unselected. So this is how we do it. This is how we create the form. So if there are any doubts, then please put it in the comment section, and the code will be shared in the updates group. And so any doubts, please write it down. Please post it in the comment section. We are having some time.
Ishpreet, Rakshita is back,
Okay.
so she is asking for presenting.
Yeah, sure. Rashita, you come and present this.
I'm sorry, my power was cut off, so my Wi-Fi was cut off. Let me share my screen. Okay, let's continue. Here we have written our code, and here I'm going to add an image tag. Here you can see two attributes, source and alternative text. Alt stands for alternative text. Here I remove attribute alt for now. In the source, I'm going to drop down my image. Here is my image. Let's create a folder here. I name it as images. And I'll drop down my image in this folder. Okay. Now back to the code. In the source, we should write images slash rakshita.jpg. As we can see, we completed our simple tweet. Now we will run this code. Right click and open with live server.
Rakshita, you can directly open the Chrome, Google Chrome. Yeah, left side meeting.
Actually, I'm unable to connect the server, live server. Okay, here we can see we got the output here. At Rakshita Gadgi, I love to learn HTML. This is how we run this code. Actually, I got the problem in connecting with live server. So, in further sessions, we at present we can't connect to the server. In further sessions, we will learn about more. We learn more about HTML and CSS. And over to you, Ishpreet.
Thank you so much, Rakshita. So we are done with the first session of web campaign, which was basics of HTML. So I hope you people got an idea that what the session was all about. And if you guys have any doubt, then please post it in the comment section, and we'll share the code in the updates group. So thank you everyone, and thanks for joining, and have a nice day.
If you people have any questions, you can ping us in a chat box also. We will be waiting for 5 more minutes. So if you people have any questions, you can ping us.
Even if it's okay, even if you unmute yourself and speak.
Rakshita, you are unmute.
I think we can end this call. If there are any questions, you can always ping us.
Yeah, I think things are clear. There are no doubts. So thank you guys for joining today's meet. Keep up the spirit, and I expect you guys join the future events of GDSC. And I think it's time to end. Okay, Sneha, Akshay, Ishpreet, should we end this?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, okay. You
Done,
guys
done.
can leave. Thank you.